This news almost did not come to exist, but still, here they are. Find out what's new in Simracing right here, right now. Greetings petrolheads and welcome to rumrum.net, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing and to a regular news roundup. If you have any news for us, send us a mail to news@rumrum.net. Thanks for watching, my name is Serta and I will be your host for this video. Yes, well, until Thursday, the only news tidbit we had was about Snowrunner, and it was a small one, not the big news you'll find later in the video. So we had the community post ready for Sunday, and then came Friday with further, deeper news. Such is the nature of news, even in something as steady as sim racing, I guess. Here they are. Another month, another roadmap update from Studio 397 regarding rFactor 2. They start their news acknowledging they are working on the legal stuff that always comes with it when a company buys another company. I should know, I've sold a couple of my companies in my lifetime and promised to get started delivering details as soon as everything is in place and they are allowed to speak further, which at the moment they cannot because paragraphs, provisos and other legalese. Coming back to rFactor 2, now that the changes in lighting are underway, the PBR, they are working in what they call screen space reflections, which are yet another enhancement of the visual realism of the sim, this time providing real-time reflection on the surface of the tracks. This works especially on damp and wet tracks, but on a much lesser level, of course, also on dry tracks. This very much means yet another round of rework of tracks once they have this ready, but it's an interesting aspect of the visuals. We are curious how well they can pull this off, how it works and what it means with regards to CPU and GPU cycles, which is not a small thing, especially if you, like me, like to race rFactor 2 on VR. It seems the first track they are doing this for is Spa, as the first images of screen space reflections in action are from there. Unless we are severely mistaken, but that looks very much like Bruxelles and Paul Frère in the images. Don't expect to see this in action anytime soon, as such a task is a lot of work. Making sure the reflections work in all conditions, at all times of day and night, and from any visible angle is just a ton of complex work with stylistic decisions in the graphics and software departments. And some bushels of pulled here when something that should work just doesn't. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, saw the movie. While extensive work also continues in the deep-rooted issues rFactor 2 has that we and the developers have talked about a couple of times, we personally are very glad to hear that the team will work on enhancing the user experience with regards to the GUI and everything around it, which, as we said, needs a lot of improvement. They'll start with a setup tool for first-time users, which sounds like a good idea from what we hear about the first impressions of rFactor 2. They will also lay their hopefully healing hands on the multiplayer menu, especially the server lists, allowing for multiple and different filters. Also, they bring a spectator mode to the sim and add the use of Steam IDs into rFactor 2, which anyone who's wanted to run a race or league in the sim will find a spectacularly good decision, am I right? Another thing we know is a pain is handling liveries in multiplayer races, and they will see to it that they improve that part of the experience too. Stepping away from the multiplayer experience, mod makers can rejoice as Studio 397 is working on enhancing the AI editor. And for us broadcasters, there's the news they continue working on the overlay. I hope they'll work on cameras too and allow us to position extra cameras where we think we want one, as this is something we sorely miss when doing broadcasts. The offered cameras are few and sometimes in what we consider wrong places. So if the camera work in the rFactor 2 races is not of your liking, it might for once not be Serta's fault. Just this one's not. We'll start with a small news. Snowrunner will be available on Steam on May 18th. While the release on Epic was very successful and brought over 1 million sales to the world of this very slow motorsport, now the team is expanding their sales pitch, so to speak. If for some reason you have been avoiding the Epic Store whilst salivating over this game, your wait will soon be over. Also from May 18th on, Snowrunner will be available on the Switch. Now you can play Snowrunner anywhere, you lucky buzzard. At the beginning, still without mods, but they are promised to come sometime later. Yeah, we know it's the same they said about consoles and then it took over 6 months. And what else arrives at our SnowRun doors on May 18th? The 4th season of Snowrunner! If you own the Season Pass or the Premium Edition, Amur Oblast will be yours automatically on that date. The region will have 4 maps, you'll have access to 2 new vehicles, and your overall goal will be to build a rocket launch site. Exciting indeed! Oh, and the hard mode will at last come to Snowrunner, which we expect to be the hardcore mode the developers talked about when this game was first released. If it's anything like what they talked about, it will mean you have to pay for everything you do in the game with in-game money. No more siphoning off fuel for free or repairing your truck on the go with no consequences. Communism ends now. Faithful to the change in delivery timing of every 2 weeks rather than 1 month, Razer just about published their newest update with the official version number of 1.1.4.5. They seem to have taken a look at the G923 experience, as there is a bug fix around that, and most especially now there is a way to disable True Force for the wheel. You know, True Force, the marketing blah blah Logitech put in there to make some think the G923 is more than just a refurbished G29. Moving on in Razer's update notes, they've worked on some text, fixed some punctuation and grammatical errors in different language versions and corrected inaccuracies in vehicle information. On the physics side, they've done work on the tires, wings and other tweaks to different cars, as well as change brake fade range on optimal temperatures for brakes. Yeah, they're that nitpicky, but you lot are too, so... With regards to the AI, on the one hand they've made the AI faster on qualifying, on the other hand made it more careful around humans. As we all had to, the AI now has learned to work maggots and beckets on Silverstone and Tosan Variante Alta, as well as the second Acqua Minerali corner in Imola. Also places we all have to learn to deal with, so I'm not dissing the AI one bit. Tracks! They have of course also tweaked the tracks because Razer. Some not unimportant but still smaller tweaks have been done to Silverstone, Montreal and Hockenheim 1988. The whole list of changes is as always behind the link we put in our description. And there's a whole world of joy in Simracing behind the links coming up right now, so check the playlist to the left or the video to the right. Until next time, save fuel, collect pickup, and we'll see each other on the podium.